Now, the next part of toxic masculinity that I want to discuss is very, very serious. And I like to characterize this trait of someone with toxic masculine characteristics as the nasty pimp. And I know that's strong terminology to use, but it's the only thing that comes to mind. And characteristics of the nasty pimp includes confusing sexual misconduct, meaning sex is utilized as something to wield over another person as power or reward. And oftentimes, when people engage in sexual relations with this individual, they are left feeling confused by the experience, often traumatized, which can be characterized as a traumatic sexual encounter. If you've had the experience of being with a masculine figure and you leave the sexual encounter feeling confused and traumatized, it means that somewhere along the way, either you felt disrespected, or there was something off about consent, or there was something abusive or hurtful about the way you were handled. And if this has happened to you, then you are the victim of a criminal act, and you need to seek help and process and get all of this out so that you can gain a better understanding of what you've gone through. Another characteristic would be talking under a woman's clothes. Now, what that entails is where a man speaks either directly to a woman about her body, her sexuality, and things pertaining to her person, and says things that can be insulting. Or another way of talking under a woman's clothes, and this is something that many female clients tell me all the time, especially in romantic relationships, would be where their partner sends them secret messages by commenting on other women's bodies and appearances. And what this does is it serves to lower their self-worth or their self-esteem, because the partner may say things like, wow, look at that woman. Wow, she must spend a lot of time taking care of herself. You have to work really hard to look that good. And maybe the spouse doesn't have that sort of time where they can invest in taking care of themselves. And so that they internalize that as an insult to them. Or a man may insult a woman's body and say something about her weight. Well, the spouse may be larger than that person, and so they internalize that as well. If he feels that about this person, how does he feel about me? And so all of these are cruel secret messages that he's sending about his preferences. Another thing would be comparisons to exes or others. And that can be anything from comparison to how the exes cooked, cleaned, interacted, whether or not they were the life of the party. Or it can even include touting the ex's achievements in a way to make their current partner feel small and diminished and unsuccessful. So these are things that you need to look out for in terms of toxic masculinity. Another trait of a toxic male practicing toxic masculinity would be withholding praise for your personal or professional achievements, but only giving praise for those acts that have to do with him. And I'll give you guys an example of that. Example, you just got a job promotion and the man does not congratulate. However, he may say at dinner, this steak was good. Maybe if you could use Excel as good as you use garlic and bell pepper, you would have had a better paying job before now. That's an example of toxic masculinity at work. And so if you've experienced this, you may be baffled by the behavior and ashamed and not even talk about it. Don't be ashamed. Don't be fearful. Speak about it. Talk to someone you trust, and then get in front of a professional that can help you. And lastly, one thing that I've seen across the board with toxic masculinity would be the auditions. And so, by the auditions, this means that the person is openly engaging in romantic relationships or situationships with multiple people, but they dangle the possibility of being the chosen one or the main person as this carrot, this ever moving finish line, the dangling carrot. But you have to jump through all of these hoops and all of these hurdles, and the male figure consistently tells you how you're just missing the mark. And if you fix all of these things about yourself, then at some point you'll be worthy of his full attention and full affection. So, if you are familiar with any of the things I've just spoken about, that's okay. Do not despair. There's help, and you're strong enough to assert yourself and get it and make a change. Thank you for listening. You can find my podcasts and videos on all platforms, everything across the board. So there's no reason not to tune in and get the information that you deserve to move your life in a better direction.